Now it's time for Gotham Talk Radio's In Your Face Politics with Brad Gerstman and David Schwartz.
So we got someone else on the phone? Okay, we have Senator Golden from Brooklyn on the phone.
Senator Golden, yes.
He's a crowd favorite here at Gotham Talk Radio.
Big favorite.
Senator Golden, are you there? You're on with Brad Gerstman and David Schwartz on the great Gotham Talk Radio. Mr. Senator, how are you, sir? That's nice to know.
Wait, let me pretend to be Marty.
All right, yeah, you pretend to be Marty. Don't ruin the moment here.
Wait, now,
Senator, are you there?
I'm here, Brad.
Mr. Senator Golden, how are you? How are things in Brooklyn?
Things are great in Brooklyn. We're out campaigning every day. We got ice cream. We got cotton candy. We're running concerts here in Brooklyn. I'm in Bay Ridge. I'm walking around in my suit. It's 99 degrees.
All right, well, I think we now, according to our engineer, Hurley says that we have Senator Golden on the line on Gotham Talk Radio with Brad Gerstman and David Schwartz. Senator Golden.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
Are you there?
I am indeed.
Oh, how's my invitation, Marty?
How's it going?
Great. Dave was just doing an invitation to you because we couldn't get you on the line, and Dave wanted to fill in on your behalf. He did an admirable job. So
I'm sure he did.
Wait, do you want to hear it?
Try to do that.
Hi, Brad.
It's quite successful.
I'm here from Brooklyn. I'm handing out ice cream cones. I'm out campaigning. I'm wearing a suit. It's 99 degrees. We got cotton candy and babies and kids and concerts.
Right. Oh,
how was that? That was pretty good, right?
Hey, listen, that's the way you got to be.
I know.
You got to be for your constituents.
Like I said, there's
no... out there, you give them cold water, and you got your kids out there, you give them cotton candy and hot sauce.
I'll tell you, no one's better than you.
No better retail politician. There are 5 Republicans in his district. All right, there's about 100,000 Democrats. This man gets 70% of the vote every year
for good reason.
How do you figure that out? But
for very good reason. But you know what? We're not here to talk about campaigning. We're here to talk about guns. And we know that you've been a very outspoken person on the gun violence that's going on, and not only in New York State but around the country. And we certainly know we have a problem. And there have been some potential solutions out there, like microstamping and other things. And we want to just hear about your gun proposals as well as your thoughts on microstamping, because we did have Assemblywoman Schimmel on right before you. So the floor is yours, Mr. Senator.
We have to really focus on where we were and where we are and where we're going. In 1991, 1992, 1993, many of your listeners will know exactly what was going on here in the city and state of New York. It was out of control. Long Island, all the way up to Buffalo. It was just, and not just this state. It was across the nation, across the world. We had this individual called Rudy Giuliani. He was a mayor of our great city, and he came in with an SOP, a standard operating procedure, that changed the way we handle arrests, people going to jail, predicate felons. We changed, and working with Governor Pataki and others, to change the dynamics of the criminal intent and use of illegal weapons. And we turned the tide and created an SOP, also working with the DAs across the state and Charlie Hines here in Brooklyn. We were able to bring those numbers down, create that standard operating procedure that was not only used here in the city of New York, but in every city, town, and village across the state, across the country, and in other countries. What happened here in 1991, 1992? 2,600 people were killed in the streets. Gunned down, stabbed, mugged, robbed. That was another 900,000 people. Could you imagine that many people being killed, 2,600, another 900,000, their cars being stolen, their houses being burglarized, women being raped? It was absurd. It was out of control. Today, there'll be 500 people somewhere in that category, of which about 250 to 300 will die from a gun, and it's still, by all means, far too many. But back in 1991 and 1992, you didn't have that going on in third world countries, never mind in the greatest city and the greatest nation in the world. So we've changed that dynamic. Do we have more to do? Yes. And what you got to do is, when it comes to gun control, we have, in fact, we are the top state in the nation amongst four of us, top states in the nation that are the safest when it comes to gun control and have the best gun control laws in the country. So we got gun control laws, and good ones at that. And even here in the city of New York, it's difficult. You're not going to get a license to carry a gun here. Our problem is most of the guns here are illegal. Most of the guns, over probably 2 million here in the city of New York, come from outside of the state of New York. And
wait, can I stop you for 1 second? 2 million guns in the city, illegal guns in the city of New York? Did you just say?
Yes, I did. There are guns
Holy
out there
cow.
estimated at astronomical numbers, and we believe it's closer to 2 million guns that are
That's
out there
unbelievable.
that are illegal, laying in people's homes, houses, warehouses, offices, stores, across the entire city.
But also, Senator, I want to add, so the listeners understand, is you have a history of being a law enforcement official, right? You were a New York City police officer.
I was a cop from 1970 to 1982. I was run down in a drug sale and a gun, man with a gun, back in 1982, retired in 1983. Wow. And I went into catering and then into the city council in 1998 and state senate in 2002.
So you come with a particular knowledge of what's going on the streets, and I'm sure you still have a lot of friends that are still on the streets, and you're able to get information. But with that, you've put together, I believe, a bill or more than one bill in order to try to address the gun issue here in New York City and New York State. What are those bills about?
Well, the one gun, they turn around, some of your football fans are not going to be happy, but I was the guy that turned around and was responsible for seeing Placico go to jail for 2 years for shooting himself in the leg, the dumbest thing I've ever seen done. A guy taking an illegal gun to a bar and shooting himself in the leg. It's unfortunate. He's a great man, good player.
Except for joining the Jets after that. Shooting himself was the second dumbest thing he's ever done.
He did a stupid thing, and because of that, he paid for that 2 years in jail. And how did he get 2 years in jail? Because we created a law here in 2003, my law, that puts you in jail 3 years guaranteed if you get caught carrying an illegal gun in the state of New York. The DAs in the city of New York have an understanding that they put you in for 2 years. So what happened before 2003? You could go to jail to Rikers Island for 30 days, come back before a judge, and a judge would say time served and release you. So we changed that dynamic here in this state, and we actually guarantee, I don't see anybody getting out less than 2 years for possession of a gun, and most get 3 years, and that's what it should be. Now, what does that mean? It means that we've gone out there, we've exercised a due process on each one of these individuals who are arrested by guns, and we've put them in jail where they belong. And if you're a predicate felon 3 times, you get 5 more years on top of that. We have 4 bills that we put out in the past year, and I think they would help us bring crime down. It's the illegal guns that are in possession of bad guys that we've got to get off of the street and get those bad guys off of the street to continue to bring that crime down.
What's that community gun bill that you have? I think that one's interesting.
Well, there's 3 of them. I'm going to have 4 of them I'm going to put out there. The community gun bill we'll start with. That is, today, you have the guns. You have the Latin Kings. You have the different gangs that are out there across the city and state. The
Bloods, and the Crips, the Schwartzes.
You got it, but you got even less, names that are not even known to a lot of these listeners.
The Bay Boys.
Yep. And what they do...
How about the Temple Sinai Boys?
No, the Bay Boys they chased me down when I was in high school.
Yeah. Now you're a Temple Sinai boy.
Well, we have our own gang. All right, go ahead. What's the community gun bill?
The gun is, you have a gun at a location, you leave that gun at that location, and everybody, 5, 6, 7 of you know what that gun is. So when you need that gun, you go and use that gun. It's a community gun. So now, I put that gun there, and I'm a gang leader, and John goes out, and he kills somebody with that community gun. Now, we could never go after the individual that gave him that gun in the past. Now, we go after everybody that's touched that gun. Everybody goes for that murder. The 7 people that are attached to that gun, if we can prove that they had and did touch that gun, they go to jail. And we don't have to now have the intent that they knew that the gun was going to be used in commission of a crime, that they knew that the gun was going to kill some young boy. It's just now, if you get caught with it, and it's in the last 3 years, and you possess that gun and use that gun to kill somebody, you will get additional 5 years in jail, and be charged with the one that actually put the gun there will actually go for a D felony from 5 to 25. So that's talking
good.
about, and the guy that did the shooting goes from 5 to 25.
Right.
Like,
That's like an aiding and abetting kind of thing. But it ramps it up.
From a DA standpoint, it's going to be a tough case to prove. No,
we reduce it. We give the DAs more options in this bill.
You do?
We do. Yeah. Yes, we can. If the gang is 7 people in gangs, and we can prove that one guy says that Johnny Jones knew the gun was there, that all that presumption is gone. We take that. That guy goes, they all go for it, and it gives the DA a better opportunity to convict and put these people in jail.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, they'll get confessions from these guys.
Yeah, you're going to need
some
cooperating witnesses. That's what's going to be the basis of proof.
But that is great. You know what? Everybody out there will know that they have, that they touch that gun and Joe decides to kill someone with it 2 days later, and the fact that they touched it a week before puts them in the...
Senator, how long have you been working on this bill for?
Well, this is the past year we've been working on this bill. We got it worked in the Senate. We can't get these bills passed in the Assembly.
Right.
I'm glad you had Assemblywoman Schimmel on, and I would hope that she would take a lead in the Assembly and pass some of these crime-fighting bills that would take the illegal guns off of the street and put the bad guys in jail. This is just one bill. We have several bills there. And the other bill is if you get caught using a gun in the commission of a crime, an additional 5 years. It's a simple bill. Put the bad guy in jail. Take the guns off the street. They won't use them if they know they're going to go to jail for 5 or 8 years.
It's true.
Same thing with the using a gun in a premise of a home where you got a 14-year-old child or under. Another 5 years. We have some serious bills, and the last bill that I want to talk about, which is the most important bill, another important bill I should say, is a gang bill. Now, we talked about the community gun, but what we did, I also have a gang bill that's separate and apart from the community gun bill. And then gang bill takes you, if you'll rope somebody into a gang, you got yourself a D felony. If you go out and recruit young kids, you got yourself a D felony. If you hang out in certain locations, we can go in there based on the L.A. law in Los Angeles. We took it right out of their books, and we brought it over here. We got it passed in the Senate, I guess there was like 55 votes for it, and we haven't been able to get it done in the Assembly. That's where your powers are. That's where the crimes are being committed. In gangs here in the city, in Long Island, and across the state, gangs are growing. And the only way you can bring down those crimes is by locking up those gang members and really denting and putting a dent into gangs. So we got a real good gang bill that really enhances each crime by 5 years. This would really put a dent in them and give our DAs the tools they need, to put these people in jail. There's 3 things they need, right? What do you need? And the city of New York, we need more cops. And 2, we got to make sure that we give them the tools that they need. And the tools they need is the legislation that's going on that we're talking about here today. If they have those tools, more cops and the tools, the process to arrest these individuals and put these individuals behind bars, we will bring down murders and shootings here in the city of New York. And 3, we hear a lot of things about stop and frisk. Stop and frisk is one of the reasons we've seen crime come down across this city. Stop and frisk is a very important tool. I used it when I was a cop, and I used to go into the grand jury, and I would tell the people in the grand jury why I came up with an individual, why I stopped an individual, what that individual was doing that led me to get reasonable suspicion that he was going to commit a crime.
You know what, Senator? It's key, and I think it's interesting. You've looked at all the different issues that are out there. You're looking, many years ago there wasn't an issue about gangs. There wasn't an issue possibly about a community gun. So these are really, forward-thinking, new kind of concepts to address the way guns are being used in our society today. And you're also, at the same time, you're working with the district attorneys who are on the front lines of day-to-day, crime and prosecution.